Hello everyone, welcome back to the RK Motors channel. It's time for another Showcase Spotlight where we take a deep dive into some of your and our favorite classics. Roll the intro. Hey y'all, Josh here, RK Motors content dude and proud driver of a 3.5 liter Ford EcoBoost turbo truck. Today's Showcase Spotlight, this 1993 GMC Typhoon. But first, the trivia question. We'll keep it simple this week. How many Typhoons has RK Motors sold? You can find that answer and all of our inventory at www.rkmotors.com. The 1993 GMC Typhoon. So to tell you about that, I kind of need to tell you about the Ty twins. That's what a lot of people in the community call them. The GMC Cyclone for 1991 and the GMC Typhoon for 1992 and 1993. Story goes, Buick engineers, hot off of the success with their Buick Grand National, were taking 3.8 liter turbo motors and sticking them in other General Motors products. They decided to stick a 3.8 in a Chevrolet S10, and then they shopped that idea to Buick as a product, and then Chevrolet as a product. Well, naturally, Chevrolet wasn't interested because they were working on the 1990 454 SS. When GMC heard about the product, they were very interested. They took an S15 Sonoma, and instead of using Buick's 3.8 liter, they decided to use a 4.3 just because it would be easier to engineer. So you probably know the Typhoon is based on the GMC Jimmy, whereas the Cyclone was based on the Sonoma or the S15. This, of course, wasn't General Motors' first round with turbos. We had the Grand National, obviously, the Turbo Trans Am. Even going back before that, we had the 1962 Corvair Monza Spider, which, if you'll remember last week's video, the Camaro technically replaced, and the F-85 Jetfire from Oldsmobile. Turbocharging really came to prominence on World War II warbirds, at least in America, and the 1962 Corvair and Jetfire were the first mass-produced American turbo cars. The great thing about turbo engines is they increase both performance and efficiency at the same time. So if you look back in the history of automobiles, at least here in America, anytime you see kind of a rise of turbocharging is when miles per gallon become as important or a little bit more important than miles per gallon. So in the 80s, you're looking at things like Fox body Mustangs, the Dodge Omni. When it comes to General Motors and performance turbos, the most recent things you're really going to be thinking about are the CT6V, which is a very awesome car that featured a bespoke Blackwing V8, or the late 2000s cars like the Cobalt SS Turbo, the HHR SS Turbo, or the Saturn Sky Redline and Pontiac Solstice GXP. When we talk about performance, I think the magnitude of what these trucks accomplished is often lost on people who just didn't live through the era or haven't read a lot about it. The Cyclone was not only quick, it was the fastest accelerating vehicle for 1991. It 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. In GM terms, that's comparable to a C5 Corvette when it debuted. The Typhoon itself was a little bit slower. It was 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds. Did the quarter mile in about 14.1 seconds with a speed of about 94 miles per hour. And it was electronically limited to a top speed of 124, meaning it could go faster, but you probably wouldn't want to go faster than that. Now, the fact that these were so exclusive and they performed like a sports car but weren't a sports car was a big selling point. You had something that could run with a Corvette, a Nissan 300ZX Turbo, or a Ferrari 348. that was a fraction of the price and frankly a lot cooler. In the grand scheme of things, the importance of these trucks, the Saitais, were they kind of made sport trucks cool. I mean, you'd had the El Camino and the 454 SS and the Shelby Dakota before this, but since then, you've really had some strong performance trucks. The SVT Lightning, the SRT 10, even the SSR a little bit with the 6-speed versions. And you can see that carry over into today's trucks and SUVs, even into the electric realm, with the Hummer having the Watch the Freedom mode and stuff like the Raptor R, or even just the Raptor that Ford has come out with. The reason that is so significant is because performance always sells. Even if you don't use the performance, you want the performance. And in 2021, 45% of the new car market was SUVs. So that bodes really well for classic cars. We never keep a Typhoon more than probably a couple weeks when we sell it. And as you can tell from things like the Ford Bronco, the uptick in classic Bronco sales since the new Bronco debuted, you're buying something that's got some serious collectability. Unlike the Cyclone, which was available in only black, the Typhoon was available in quite a few colors. But this one is really in the only appropriate 1990s General Motors color scheme. GMC calls it black and gray. This is largely original paint, and the person who consigned this actually does body work. So he covered the original paint in a nice layer of clear. It's got a really nice gloss to it. Of course, the Typhoon got you ground effects. That was about the only visual change aside from the 92s having black GMC letters in the grille and black door handle guards. And this is one of 98, I believe, for 1993 that were painted black and gray. Let's take a look under the hood. So the base of this power plant is a 4.3 liter Vortec V6. It's a very common GM motor. It's been around for a long time, very reliable and proven. As you can see, the Cyclone intake, that is correct to Typhoons because GMC just took the engine out of that truck and put it in this one. Got a big Garrett intercooler there with a Mitsubishi turbo. Spins about 14 PSI boost. Other than that, this is really a great example of where a parts bin mentality at a major automaker like General Motors or Volkswagen or Toyota, anybody, comes in very handy because they can pull from the shelf and make something really cool. 48 millimeter twin bore Corvette throttle body, multi-port injection, Corvette injectors, specific pistons and specific exhaust manifolds. And the only thing we can tell that's really aftermarket on this specific 4.3 is the air intake. But the staff that have driven this truck say it's quite faster than the other Typhoons we've sold. Let's take a look between the doors. Well, it doesn't look very luxurious now. This was considered pretty high luxury in the 1990s. Leather seating surfaces were optional. Reinforced the kind of the sports car aesthetic or performance aesthetic with a console with a shifter instead of having the column shift. Lots of luxuries such as cruise control, power windows, power door locks, power mirrors. Got a nice retro Delco tape deck in there, which is pretty cool. Air conditioning, of course. And overall, it's just a neat little time capsule into where we were as far as interior design in the 1990s and 1980s. This interior is original to the truck, and one neat aspect is the gauges, which were adopted from the Pontiac Sunbird GT. Now that we're back in the main showroom and we have this Typhoon on the lift, let's take a look under it. First thing, we got some awesome new old stock wheels. I don't know if we've covered that terminology on this series before, but in short, new old stock means that the part was produced when the vehicle is in production. So it's either set in the warehouse or been in the collection of some really enthusiastic buyer at some point. But either way, these are new old stock wheels. Restored center caps. The same person who clear coated the paint restored the center caps. An interesting thing about these trucks is the wide wheels in comparison to normal Jimmys. And gonna have a lot of traction, so those wheels are so wide because this truck is all-wheel drive, which I'm sure most of you know. 65% of the power goes to the rear wheels, 35% of the power goes to the front wheels, thanks to this right here. It's a BorgWarner 4472 torque converter. So this was cribbed from the Chevy Astro van and GMC Safari. Really cool program from back in the day. If you've never seen a V8 Astro van, you're not living, but that's just my opinion. 4L60E transmission, pretty standard fare for GM products of the day. Of course, power steering and power disc brakes, rack and pinion unit. And from the factory, these trucks came with a 3-inch drop relative to a stock GMC Jimmy. And you also had a self-leveling air suspension, which was really technical for the time. Land Rover and I think Mercedes were two of the main automakers back in the 90s that equipped that sort of thing. But this specific Typhoon has been equipped with a bunch of Belltech lowering components. That's very common with these trucks that have been, over the years been preserved. So Belltech shocks, Belltech springs, sway bars, obviously massive rear sway bar, blocks. So yeah, pretty much what you would expect from an unrestored, very clean, very well kept collector car. That pretty much concludes our deep dive into our Typhoon Showcase Spotlight. You can let us know what you think in the comments. Give us an answer to the trivia. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. And check out rkmotors.com for your next classic car. Thanks.